Officer John E. McKinney was born December 28, 1874, in Hamilton County, Illinois. He eventually came to Indianapolis. In 1899, he married Iona Foltz McKinney, who was born October 12th, 1879, and became a member of the Indianapolis Police Department. He and his wife had 3 daughters, Mildred, Pearl, and Mary. Mildred McKinney McCain was born in 1900, so she would have been 11 or 12 when her father died. She passed in 1989. She was survived by a daughter, 2 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Pearl McKinney Hill was born in 1902, would have been 9 or 10 years old when her father died. She gave birth to a child in 1921. Unfortunately, this child passed in 1928. Pearl died in 1972. Mary McKinney Siebert, the 3rd daughter. The only information I could find about her was that she was still alive when her sister Mildred died in 1989. When Officer McKinney was shot, none of the houses that are in this neighborhood had been built. The oldest buildings were built around 1925. My apartment building was built in 1930. I'd say the range of homes in this area were built in 1925 to about 1955. So things have changed greatly since Officer McKinney was shot just half a block from where I live. John McKinney was shot on March 28, 1912, and he passed away 3 days later at City Hospital, which is now Eskenazi Hospital. He had been shot in the lung, kidney, and liver. Now, chances are today he would have survived his wounds, considering he survived 3 days with what is now considered primitive medical technology. Officer McKinney was buried in Mount Jackson Cemetery, which ironically is about a 10-minute walk from where I last lived. Iona McKinney, John's wife, was born in Indianapolis in 1879, and she passed away in 1957, 45 years, 8 months, 19 days after her husband died. She never remarried, so John was apparently the love of her life. Ironically, Find a Grave lists the year of her death as 1954, but the death certificate included with the listing clearly states she died in 1957. The death certificate also says she lived in Indianapolis for 75 years, but I believe this was a mistake on the death certificate, as she was 78 years old when she died. Another ironic thing on her death certificate is under Social Security number, it says no. Her occupation was listed as housewife, although I would think technically she'd be retired at that point. Now, here's the really fascinating part about this story. Officer McKinney wasn't killed doing the usual things you would think a police officer would die from while on duty. He wasn't stopping a crime or chasing a criminal or engaged in a gunfight with a criminal. He was actually killed by his police officer partner. The reports say they got into a quarrel, and Officer McKinney was shot and later died 3 days later. His fellow officer was tried for the death of Officer McKinney, and that case was actually moved to Martinsville, Indiana. This officer was acquitted the same year, September 16th or 19th. I don't remember which date, and I forgot to write it down. The name of the officer that he was involved in a fight with isn't recorded in the memorials I can find, and I don't have access to microfiche of the newspapers of the area at my library. I'd have to go to a different library system to even get a hold of those. So I'm not really sure why the memorials don't list that. One website does say that the weapon used was the officer's weapon, which I'm going to presume means Officer McKinney's weapon. So, Officer McKinney didn't die protecting the citizens of Indianapolis. He died because he and his partner got into some argument. And what that argument was about, I have no idea. So that's a little bit about the life and death of Officer John McKinney. Thank you.